A great portion of this city was really fucking grey. Roads and structures and playgrounds and the skin of elderly people ambling around aimlessly. Through the windscreen, everything seemed distant and illusory.
Welcome to episode 2 of Forums to Film. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about location. I want to talk to you a bit about Portsmouth as a whole, which is where the book and the film is going to be set. So let's go for a drive. So we are at the beach, Clarence Pier. It's about 9 a.m. I came early because I know how mad this gets at kind of like the slightest hint of sunlight. And I realised pretty quickly when I decided to kind of adapt Forums from a book to a film that Portsmouth isn't just a location, it is a character in itself. And today I just want to kind of explore that and work out how to incorporate it. Shout out to Broadway Coffee for keeping me caffeinated on my trip. So, welcome to Clarence Pier. I'm at the beach, just a stone's throw away from the arcades, the ice cream shops, everything that you know or might not know about Clarence Pier. This beach is obviously a pebble beach. It's not sandy, much to the frustration of a lot of the local residents. And I've had a lot of firsts here, kind of on some of my first films. I came and got shots here. First time getting drunk at the beach, first time vomiting at the beach because of that. And it's just a place that holds quite a lot of symbolism, not only to me, but it's kind of a central location to everyone that lives here. Now, one question I had actually from my email community is, why did I pick Portsmouth for We Met in the Forums? The honest answer for that is a mix of two things. Not only is it my hometown, it's kind of the place that I know best, and it's a place that I know that I could deliver kind of a weird narrative and use real locations that a few people might know, or I know in depth enough to kind of really describe and bring to life on the page. But also Portsmouth and a lot of coastal locations in the UK really have this unique kind of aesthetic. I mentioned the pebble beach rather than the sand. We have some kind of fun, iconic 80s, 90s designs that maybe look a little bit washed up, but we kind of love them. They're part of the tapestry here. And one other thing that it kind of really brings is that contrast. I mean, I have an idea in my head, and it's kind of the way the book goes as well, is that we would start in this kind of sunny, lovely, beachy landscape. This could be the south of France right now, but it also has that underbelly, it has that contrast, it has the slight faded signs, the infrastructure that is kind of crumbling. And as the film goes on, I really want to match the emotional spirals to kind of the city echoing that, getting more grungy, more kind of disgusting, more dark, gloomy, grey. In future episodes, I'm going to show you more of Portsmouth. Obviously, today we're at the beach, we're at Clarence Pier, but I'm also going to take you around Southsea, where I now live. I'm going to take you around North End, where I used to live, and obviously a lot of the film takes place there. I'll take you to Cosham, I'll take you up on Portsdown Hill, which is another key location from the book. All in future episodes. There is a long journey leading up to this film, so we have plenty of time to explore. I'm just really excited about this project in particular because I can showcase Portsmouth, I can showcase the place that I grew up, and I can showcase some of the non-touristy areas, some of the stuff that's kind of begging to be on the screen. Just in terms of right now, obviously a lot of what I'm doing is script writing, it's development. I want to try and do some visual testing, keep this dynamic. So I'm going to do a visual test at the beach. My idea, as I mentioned, with the contrast and the transitions from kind of more character moments to seeing what's happening on a macro level in Portsmouth, is using these cool glitchy location transitions, and I'm not exactly sure how to do that yet. I'm going to film some stuff today and go back and just edit some bits together. It's not going to be perfect, but it will be the first step in discovering maybe what that looks like. One thing I really do love about Clarence Pier is the 80s kind of nostalgic vibe. There is a very garish yellow and blue building, which is very iconic here. Now, I haven't actually used the fairground in the book. It would be a really fun place to kind of film. It is very dynamic here. It's quite touristy here, and it really shows that very sunny summer coastal getaway part of Portsmouth. So I mentioned the visual test for the location scene transitions. I'm going to try and shoot that in quite an eclectic, frantic way to cut together fast. I kind of love just walking along and filming whatever takes my eye and then working out how to edit it afterwards. I'm not a big fan of fix it in post, but for this visual test, it'll work. So I filmed quite a lot of crazy shots. I've just been zooming in, I've been whip panning, I've been doing God knows what. Hopefully it will all go together nicely. Obviously I've just kind of done this from the hip. When we actually film, there will be much more structure, much more plans, but it will at least show me if the idea of the transitions between scenes is going to work. And whilst I'm filming around here today, it's nice not only to showcase Portsmouth for forums and what we could do as part of that film, but also as a location for other films, whether that's UK, whether that's Hollywood. We've had a few things come through here, but I think there really is untapped potential, and I'm excited to kind of tap into that first. I hate driving in Portsmouth. The sun is out, people are acting crazy. I've been very lucky not to hit about 5 people so far. I'm almost home, so I think I'm safe. So I'm back home. It is time to edit the footage that I got at the beach. I'm going to show you a bit of the process. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to cut this yet, so I'm probably going to be doing it for a little while. I'll just get the best bits. Just for some context of what this visual test was for, I did mention some transition scenes and realised that maybe I didn't explain that fully. What I basically want to do maybe 3 or 4 times during the film is have these weird transition scenes showing how Portsmouth is changing as this disease is spreading and residents are kind of getting affected by it. When we shoot it for real, I imagine that it'll be a mix of kind of people and place. So shots like I've done today, very kind of experimental whip pans over the beach, different locations. And people going day to day at the start, it can be very summery, it can be very touristy, people eating ice creams, and it can kind of degrade into people affected by this disease and violence and whatever, but shot in the same similar kind of way, maybe going from bright and vibrant to desaturated and kind of cold. I'm not exactly sure. As I say, we have a long time until I need to think about that for real, but I thought whilst the script's being written, whilst we're in development, it would be fun to do something visual and dynamic and something that's going to help me when we get to that stage. So let's get editing. I have imported all the footage already. I've made proxies to make the actual edit easier and smoother because I'm dealing with quite big clips even from my iPhone. So I've cut a bit of this together, just ramping up some of the speeds, using those whip pans to create that very experimental kind of transitory feeling. All the weird zoom in and throwing my camera around seems to have worked okay. Something that I think could look quite good here when we go to the hovercraft is something called a Ken Burns effect. It just kind of crops in and then you'll see as it goes through the clip, it does like a kind of zoom in, which is nice. That clip's going to be a lot shorter though. And obviously the effect is more dramatic because it has to get to that endpoint faster, so I like that. I'm now going to head to Pixabay where you can get free royalty-free music. I obviously don't want to use anything AI. This is all available just to download for commercial use. I'm only going to use it for the visual test, not particularly in the actual film. So thank you to Rockot for the Iona Emotional Ambient Pop. That is what I've chosen. So I now have it in the place that I quite like it in terms of the energy, the build, the dynamic. I've got that song which works really well, feels kind of melancholic and introspective. So yeah, I'm now just going to add a few swishy sound effects and I'm going to do a bit of a color grade to make it a little bit more desaturated, a bit more green. This could be an example of how it would be maybe towards the end of the film when things are a bit more grungy. This is how it all comes together. I'm definitely happy as a very, very quick shoot as I was walking around and maybe half an hour editing. I'm very happy how it looks. Obviously, there is a lot that I can dive into in the future, playing around with shutter effects, different kind of lenses, different kind of filters, which would really give it that evocative kind of intimate vibe I'm looking for. But yeah, I'm super happy with that. So that has been Portsmouth at the beach and a bit of an edit. I hope you've enjoyed episode 2 of Forums to Film. Next episode, I have some big news in terms of how my team is rounding out right now. Can't wait to talk about that. I also really want to do another visual test. I really enjoyed doing this today. And as I say, as we're developing the script and stuff, it's not super visual or dynamic. It doesn't kind of lend itself to these monthly videos. So I'm going to find ways to use that time wisely, doing visual tests, different kind of things, experiments. And yeah, I'm really excited about episode 3. So you know where to find me. It will come out on the last day of June. And yeah, I feel like this show is really on the road now. So stick around and let's make this film happen.